Meditations for Every Day in the Year by Bishop Richard Challoner. On St. Philip and St. James. Consider first that St. Philip and St. James were both disciples of Christ, trained up in his heavenly school. In quality of Christians, we ought all to be such, as the very name of a Christian signifies a disciple, that is, a scholar and follower of Jesus Christ. They were both called by Christ, and readily left all things else to follow him, and from that time inseparably adhered to him. How often have we also been called by him, by his interior graces? But have we ever yet followed him in earnest? Have we ever yet seriously renounced the love of the world and every tie that kept us from him? Have we as yet ever kept so close to him as to be his constant attendants? They were both chosen by Christ to be of the number of the 12 apostles. They were both zealous preachers of the faith, and after gaining innumerable souls to God, they both sealed their doctrine with their blood. Happy we, if by our words or works we can also be instrumental in gaining souls to God. Happy we, if we might suffer or even lay down our lives for so good a cause. Consider, secondly, that St. Philip had no sooner found Christ, but he was willing to make his friend Nathanael partaker of the same happiness, and therefore brought him also to Christ. This was friendship indeed. This was true charity, to take his friend with him to Christ. Alas! How many nowadays engage their friends in a partnership of their errors and vices? How many lead them with them to their criminal diversions, or otherwise bring them into sin? But how few have the charity to carry them effectually to Christ? How few labour to reclaim them from the errors of their ways, and from the broad road in which they are walking? How few suggest to their friends how they may find Christ by a spiritual retreat, by a good general confession, by the daily practice of meditation, etc. This would be friendship indeed. Consider thirdly that St. James was remarkable for the great austerity of his life, for his continual prayer. Do we desire to come to a share in his heavenly glory? The mortification of our own humours and passions, frequent voluntary self-denials, and a spirit of penance for our sins, joined with constant and fervent prayer, will bring us effectually to his company. We are told that by reason of the great sanctity of his life, he alone was allowed to enter into the sanctum sanctorum, or the inward sanctuary of the temple. But what was a much greater advantage to him was that he was allowed to enter into the true sanctuary of God, in his own interior, as often as he pleased, and there to find him all alone, and to converse as familiarly with him as he pleased by the means of mental prayer. This kind of entering into the sanctuary God is both willing and desirous to allow to us all, and the practice of this is the surest way to introduce us hereafter into his eternal sanctuary. Conclude to honour and to imitate these blessed saints in such manner during thy mortal pilgrimage, that they may receive thee one day into the everlasting mansions of bliss.